Hey guys, welcome to Pistons Talk Podcast post game show. Hope you guys are having a great night. Game 5, Pistons Knicks tonight. Man, what a game. Went down to the wire. Let's get into these game notes and then I'll kind of give you guys my overall thoughts with this game, how we should feel going into game 6 in Detroit on May 1st. So let's get into these game notes. First things first, no Isaiah Stewart, no Jaden Ivey. That has been the case. One thing I will say about Jaden Ivey, though, he was wearing a practice jersey at shoot around at Madison Square Garden. That's the first time I've seen him wear a practice jersey since his injury. That's all I'm going to say. I'll let you guys speculate. No Isaiah Stewart, knee inflammation. We know that. I don't know if we're going to see Stu back in the series. Hoping we do, but you never know, right? Pistons came out so aggressive in this first quarter, and I expected them to. The way game 4 ended, I expected them to come out pissed off, and that's exactly what they did. They came out really aggressive and got an early lead. Duran obviously got into early foul trouble, picked up 2 quick ones, and I want to give Paul Reed some credit. This is a guy that has been a third string center, hasn't always played. I thought he gave the Pistons, just some quality minutes as Duran was just on the bench with 2 fouls. Knicks did struggle to score offensively. They didn't really pick it up until midway through the first quarter. Cade Cunningham also picked up his second foul, but it was really late in the first quarter, about a minute 30 to be exact. And the Pistons and Knicks were kind of just, going back and forth. Obviously, the Knicks do end the first quarter with a 1-point lead, 23-22 was the score after 12 minutes of play. Going into the second, and I saw you guys mention this on Twitter and social media, Tobias Harris eye game. And let me explain. If you guys didn't catch the game or you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, maybe you missed that sequence completely. So Mitchell Robinson crashes the glass. Jalen Duran's trying to fight for position and get the basketball. He inadvertently elbows Tobias Harris in the eye. And Tobias Harris was an obvious pain. Like his mouth guard just went halfway across the floor. And I didn't know if he was going to be able to play, but Tobias is a very tough player. He played over 43 minutes tonight, by the way, out of 48. So shout out to Tobias, man. But he gets hit in the eye, and then he couldn't miss. It was the wildest thing. I'm scrolling the timeline on Twitter, and I see, I guess you only need one eye to shoot because he made like 4 shots in a row. Was looking for a shot, got really aggressive. Which, shout to Tobias, man. He's had such a good playoffs. To me, I think he's kind of been quietly like the MVP. Him and Cade Cunningham, to me, have been the MVP of this playoffs for the Pistons. Got to talk about Asar Thompson as well. Asar early was looking to score the basketball. A lot of cutting opportunities. He was living in the painted area. Absolutely love that for him. Also saw Asar playing center tonight, which was interesting. Haven't really seen him play center too much. Not in the extended periods of how JB was playing him tonight. Jalen Duran got into foul trouble, so he got another foul into the second quarter. So we kind of saw Asar Thompson play center. And that small ball lineup kind of matching up with Josh Hart kind of worked. Maybe JB does that again. Going into game 6, maybe that's something they do explore. Dennis Schroeder, I thought, hit some timely baskets to end the second quarter. Back-to-back buckets. Asar was missing his free throws in the second. Like, this was only a 3-point victory for the Pistons. And I know Asar Thompson isn't the best free throw shooter. I think he's around 63-64% for the season. But he was missing some free throws. And I know the type of player he is. He'll probably watch the tape and get back into the lab and practice his free throws. Because at the end of the day, when it's such a close game, you want to hit your free throws. And I will say both sides, the Pistons and the Knicks, wasn't a real good free throw shooting performance for either side. I believe the Pistons shot like 73%. The Knicks were sub 60s. But the Knicks still find a way to get a 1 point lead going into halftime. It was 50-49. Coming out of halftime, something about the third quarter. I don't know what it is about the Pistons in third quarters, but they came out aggressive. I don't know what the halftime speech was by JB or whoever had the halftime speech in the locker room. Pistons going a 10-3 run, and they got the Knicks into the bonus. They were over the limit. So the Pistons got out to a 9 point lead at one point. But here's the thing. You take Asar Thompson out, you take your best defender that's available out of the game. The Knicks went on the run and they got back into this game. And it can't be a coincidence that Asar goes to the bench and the Knicks start hitting shots and start getting, you know, into the painted area. The perimeter defense gets worse. I think JB needs to do a better job of realizing how important Asar is. At that point, Asar only had 3 fouls. He only had 3 fouls. And he didn't sub him back in until the 7 minute mark in the fourth quarter. So 77-74 was the score after 3 quarters. Going into the fourth, I'd be lying to you guys if I said I did not have chest pains and I wasn't nervous. During this season, I've called the Pistons the cardiac kids. I'm sure you guys that are subscribers on YouTube or even audio listeners right now know the Pistons were giving me chest pains really early on into the season. And it's a playoff game, so you can imagine that I'm biting my nails. I'm not talking. I'm just waiting to see if the ball goes in the basket. And to start the fourth, man, like right away, we used our challenge, and I was surprised that we still had a challenge because this coaching staff in the regular season, I thought they did a really good job of using their challenges to, reverse a call with these officials. But in this first round series, we've used our challenges like in the first quarter, like really early, and we've been wrong every time. We used it really early in the fourth, about the 10-minute mark. Karl Anthony Towns is backing down Tobias Harris. Tobias thought it wasn't a foul. It was an unsuccessful challenge. And JB got pissed and got a technical foul, which I don't know, man. I don't know. But Sarr comes back in around the 7 minute mark because we're kind of rolling, Dennis Schroeder, Cade, Malik, Tobias, and Duran. And it started to calm down. We started getting more defensive stops, started crashing the glass. There was more running opportunities, and Cade Cunningham got to the free throw line a lot more in the second half. He didn't get to the free throw line at all in the first 2 quarters. In the third and fourth, he got to the free throw line. Because if you look at the box score for Cade, he didn't have the best shooting performance. I can pull up the box score right now and read it to you guys that are watching or listening live. Cade Cunningham from the floor, from the field, 6 out of 17, but he got to the free throw line over 10 times. That's why he has 24 points. But I thought Cade down the stretch was huge. I thought Malik Beasley had his moments. Tobias had his moments throughout the game. Duran had a very good passing game, had over 6 assists tonight. And collectively, I didn't think this was a game offensively where the Knicks were their best. I thought the Knicks were missing a lot of shots that they usually hit. But hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. The Pistons take advantage of that. They get a 3-point victory inside Madison Square Garden, 106-103. The series is now 3-2. Knicks are still up 1 game. Game 6 is going to be in Detroit on May 1st. The Pistons have an opportunity to tie the series 3-3. I am so happy that they won this game. And let me tell you why I'm happy. I'm happy the Pistons won this game, not only to keep the season alive and the series alive, but I'm happy they won this game to give the fans an opportunity to come out to Detroit, come out to Little Caesars Arena, and win a playoff game at LCA. The Pistons have won a playoff game since 2008 against the Boston Celtics, ironically. Not to whoever wins the series is going to play Boston. I'm really hoping on Thursday the Pistons can go inside LCA at home and win a playoff game and force a game seven. I really hope they can. Obviously, games three and game four were very close. I think game four, I'm still kind of upset about it. I'm still kind of pissed off about it. That's why winning this game tonight feels good because want to play hypothetical, the Pistons should actually be up 3 games to 2. For being honest, like 100%. Like this should be a 3-2 a Piston series, but it's a 3-2 Knicks leading the series, this first round series right now. But I'm happy that they did force a game six. Kind of previewing game six, I think a couple things that the Pistons need to do. Let's start with the Jalen Brunson matchup. You're going to keep Asar Thompson on Jalen Brunson. You're not going to change that. What is going to be difficult, though, is keeping Asar out of foul trouble. Jalen Brunson, as you know, is very good at creating contact and selling contact and getting to the free throw line. If Asar can keep his fouls like he did tonight, I like our chances. I really do. I think for Cade, in my opinion, he hasn't shot the ball the best in this series, and you have to credit OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, the way they've kind of doubled and triple team Cade Cunningham at times. But we need a Cade game. We need like a 30-point Cade Cunningham performance at home, Little Caesars Arena in game six. We need that from Cade. We need Duran to stay out of foul trouble because we're very depleted in the front court right now. Paul Reed is doing his best out there trying to match up with a much bigger Mitchell Robinson. We need Jalen Duran to stay out of foul trouble and be locked in for a full 48 defensively. We need Duran not to kind of gamble on plays at times. You got to track Karl Anthony Towns the whole time you're out there. You can't slack off on him, especially from three. You have to be locked in with Karl Anthony Towns, in my opinion. I think he's a really big X factor for the Knicks. He's their, in my opinion, second best playoff performer in this first round series behind Jalen Brunson. So you have to limit both of Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson in game six. I need Asar Thompson to have another performance like he did tonight as well. He had over 20 points. Now, obviously, he got to play center tonight because Jalen Duran was in foul trouble. I'm wondering if JB Bickerstaff tries to try that again because it worked tonight. A small ball lineup at times got the Pistons the lead, and it worked. It worked because Asar stayed out of foul trouble. I'm very interested with that. I want to see if he possibly goes back to a small ball lineup out there with Cade and Malik and Tim and Tobias. I thought it was interesting that it did work tonight. And I think the last thing the Pistons need to do to force a game seven against the New York Knicks to close out this series is you have to take care of the basketball at the end of the day. They put a graphic up on the screen before the game. The Detroit Pistons have turned the ball over 70 times in 4 games. Now, tonight, the Pistons had another 14 turnovers. The Knicks had 15. So they did a little bit of a better job of not turning the ball over 20 times, but you have to take care of the basketball. Now, I know some turnovers, whether they're in tight passing lanes or they're just kind of bad passes. At the end of the day, if you want to win this series, taking care of the basketball matters. The possessions in the playoffs matter 10 times more than they do in the regular season. You need Cade and company to just be smart with the basketball to give your chance to win at home in game six against the New York Knicks. I like the Pistons' chances, though. I really do. If you can lock in defensively, if you can, get performances out of Tobias like you've been getting. Obviously, it was an off night for Tim. Only had 8 points. Didn't shoot the ball the best tonight in New York. If you keep getting the contributions from your vets like Tobias, Tim, Malik, and Dennis, I really do like our chances. I really do. But I'm sure the Knicks are going to come out very hungry and very aggressive to try to close that game out at LCA because the two losses at MSG probably have them thinking they don't want to go back home to see the Pistons if this goes to 7. Because if it goes to 7, I think a lot of us like our chances because we've played very well inside of Madison Square Garden this year, regular season and playoffs. Obviously, game 1, the Knicks beat us because the Pistons had a very bad fourth quarter. It was like a 21-0 run in game 1, but I mean, games 2 through 5, they've gone down to the wire. It's gone down to basically the last 2, 3 possessions of the game. And I'm feeling very confident going into game 6. I just need the Pistons to lock in into that first quarter, play, play your game. Don't get sped up. Just play your game. And I think if they follow the game plan with JB Bickerstaff and the coaches that have their game plans that draw them out for them, I really do like our chances for the Detroit Pistons. But I'm going to end this podcast. Again, Pistons force a game 6. They beat the Knicks 106-103, get a 3-point win. Go at home on May 1st, Thursday. Should be a really packed crowd. Games 3 and 4 were electric. I'm sure game 6 is going to be just as electric as games 3 and 4. But we will talk to you guys later in the week. We'll be doing another one of these post-game podcasts after the game. Have a good night, you guys. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.